The warning lights in Maintenance Sector 7 were flickering again, casting eerie shadows across the abandoned cargo bay of Orbital Station Helios. Kenna Drake had seen her share of oddities during her 3 years as lead maintenance engineer, but nothing quite prepared her for what she found in Bay 12. The alien was crying. Not the quiet, dignified tears Kenna had seen in Holovitz, but deep, body-shaking sobs that seemed to defy everything known about the Vexery. They weren't supposed to cry. They weren't supposed to show emotion at all. The diplomatic briefings had been very clear about that. The Vexery were logic incarnate, the perfect union of organic life and technological enhancement. Yet here was one, her crystalline armor catching the emergency lights like scattered stars, weeping as if the universe itself had wounded her. Kenna's boots made soft clicks against the metal floor as she approached. The sound echoed through the vast emptiness of the cargo bay, bouncing off containers and abandoned loading equipment. She should have called security. Protocol demanded it. Any unauthorized alien presence needed to be reported immediately, especially a Vexery. But something in those sobs stopped her. They sounded too raw, too real, too human. Are you all right? Kenna's voice came out softer than intended, barely above a whisper. The Vexery's head snapped up, and Kenna found herself staring into eyes that shimmered like liquid mercury. The alien's skin had the characteristic pale blue tint of her species, marked with intricate patterns that seemed to pulse with internal light. You shouldn't be here. The Vexery's voice was melodic despite its roughness, each word precisely formed, as if carefully selected from a vast internal dictionary. This sector is scheduled for maintenance lockdown. Kenna gestured to the toolkit hanging at her hip. That's why I'm here. I'm the maintenance engineer. She took another step forward, noting how the Vexery's armor shifted like living metal, adapting to her movements. I'm Kenna Drake, and you're crying in my cargo bay. The Vexery's expression shifted, the patterns on her skin flickering rapidly. I am Nyara, third sentinel of the memory vault. She paused, silver eyes studying Kenna with an intensity that made the engineer's skin prickle. And I weep for your world, Kenna Drake. I weep for Earth. The words hung in the air between them, heavy with meaning Kenna couldn't yet grasp. Earth? Why would a Vexery cry for Earth? The question came automatically, even as part of her mind screamed that she should be running, not engaging in conversation with an unauthorized visitor who was clearly in emotional distress. Nyara's hand moved to her chest, touching a complex geometric pattern that glowed beneath her armor. Because I have seen its end, just as I saw the end of Lyric's Prime, of the Centauri colonies, of worlds whose names your species will never know. Her voice cracked, a sound like breaking crystal. I carry their memories, their final moments. It is the burden of my kind, to witness and remember. Kenna's engineering mind kicked into gear, trying to process this information logically. The Vexery had only made contact with Earth 3 years ago. They were supposed to be newcomers to this sector of space, not ancient witnesses to cosmic history. That's impossible, Kenna said, taking another step closer. The historical records are incomplete. Nyara rose in one fluid motion, her armor adjusting seamlessly. She stood nearly 2 meters tall, her presence filling the cargo bay with an almost tangible energy. Your species sees time as a line, moving forward. We see it as a web, interconnected, each thread affecting all others. And in every thread I have witnessed, Earth burns. The emergency lights flickered again, casting strange shadows across Nyara's face. Kenna should have been terrified. Instead, she felt an odd sense of calm, as if she'd been waiting for this moment without knowing it. Show me, Kenna heard herself say. Nyara's eyes widened, the mercury swirl of her irises spinning faster. You don't understand what you're asking. To share memories is to share pain, to experience death across 1,000 worlds. If Earth is in danger, I need to understand why. Kenna stepped forward, closing the distance between them. I'm an engineer. We fix things. But I can't fix anything if I don't understand what's broken. For a long moment, Nyara stood motionless, studying Kenna with those impossible eyes. Then, slowly, she raised her hand. The armor covering her palm retracted, revealing skin that glowed with internal light. Very well, Nyara said softly. But remember, Kenna Drake, once you see what I have seen, you can never unsee it. Are you prepared for that burden? Kenna looked at the offered hand, then back at Nyara's face. In the flickering light, she could see the tracks of tears still shining on the alien's cheeks. Whatever truth had made a Vexery weep might break her. But if Earth really was in danger, she had to know. I'm ready, Kenna said, and reached for Nyara's hand. The moment their fingers touched, the world exploded into light. Kenna felt herself falling through memories that weren't her own, through the death throes of civilizations and the birth of stars. Through it all, one truth became terrifyingly clear: the reason for Nyara's tears, the weight of the knowledge she carried. And in that moment, Kenna understood why she couldn't move, why her own tears now matched those of the alien before her. Because the truth about Earth's future was more devastating than she could have imagined, and the clock was already ticking. Light years of memory cascaded through Kenna's mind like a digital waterfall. She saw worlds rise and fall, civilizations bloom and wither, all through Nyara's inherited memories. When the connection finally broke, Kenna found herself on her knees, gasping for air in the dim cargo bay. "Now you understand," Nyara said, her voice carrying the weight of centuries. "Why I carry this burden. Why I weep." Kenna's hands trembled as she pushed herself up from the cold metal floor. The memories still burned behind her eyes. Countless worlds, each unique, each beautiful, each ending in the same inexplicable way. Those civilizations, she managed to say, they didn't just die. They were erased. Precisely. Nyara's armor shifted, creating a seat that she lowered herself into. "My people, the Vexari, were not just warriors or diplomats. We're memory keepers. When we made first contact with your world, we presented ourselves as newcomers to this sector because the truth would have been overwhelming." Kenna leaned against a cargo container, her mind still reeling from the shared memories. How long? How long have the Vexari really been watching Earth? Since your first radio signals reached the stars. Nyara's silver eyes dimmed slightly. "We've watched your species grow, innovate, reach for the impossible. You remind us of the Lyrians. They too were dreamers, inventors, explorers." Her voice caught. "They were the first civilization we watched fall." The engineering part of Kenna's brain kicked in, trying to process this information systematically. "But there's a pattern, isn't there? In the memories you showed me. Each civilization reached a certain point of development before they vanished." Nyara nodded, the patterns on her skin pulsing with a soft blue light. "The threshold, we call it. The point where a species becomes aware enough to recognize the pattern, but not advanced enough to stop it." She stood, her armor flowing like liquid metal. "Your Earth is approaching that point now. How long do we have?" Kenna asked, dreading the answer. "Based on the pattern? Less than one Earth year." Nyara moved to the cargo bay's viewport, staring out at the stars. "But there's something different about humans. Something we've never seen before." Kenna joined her at the viewport, watching as Earth rotated slowly below them, a blue marble wrapped in clouds and hope. "What's different about us?" "Your adaptability." Nyara turned to face her. "Every species we've encountered, including my own, develops along predictable lines. But humans, you take chaos and make it work for you. You find solutions where none should exist. You defy patterns. Is that why you showed me the memories? Because you think we might be able to break this cycle?" "I showed you because you asked." Nyara's hand reached out, touching the viewport. "But also because in all my years as a memory keeper, I've never met someone who asked to understand rather than run away. That, Kenna Drake, is precisely what makes your species unique." A distant alarm began to sound, indicating the start of the maintenance cycle. Kenna ignored it, her mind racing with possibilities. The other civilizations, did they try to fight back? Did they know what was coming? Some did. The Centauri managed to send their entire cultural database into deep space before they vanished. The Lyrians built massive underground bunkers. The Nexus Collective tried to transcend physical form entirely. Nyara's patterns flickered with what Kenna now recognized as sadness. None of it mattered. They all vanished just the same. "But they fought alone," Kenna said, an idea forming. "What if we work together? Your knowledge, our adaptability." Nyara's eyes widened slightly. "That would be unprecedented. Memory keepers are meant to observe, to preserve, not to interfere." "And how's that working out?" Kenna challenged. "How many more civilizations have to disappear while you just watch and remember?" The cargo bay fell silent except for the distant hum of the station's systems. Nyara's armor rippled, reflecting her internal conflict. Finally, she spoke. "What you suggest goes against everything my people believe. Everything we've done for millennia. Maybe that's exactly why we need to do it." Kenna stepped closer, meeting Nyara's mercurial gaze. "You said humans defy patterns. Well, I'm asking you to defy yours. Help us fight this thing. Whatever it is, help us break the cycle. Nyara was silent for a long moment, her pattern swirling with complex emotions. Then, slowly, she nodded. The council will not approve. I will likely be stripped of my position as memory keeper. But you'll help. Yes. Nyara's voice carried both resignation and determination. But understand this, what we're attempting has never been done. The consequences of failure could be no worse than doing nothing, Kenna finished. She turned back to the viewport, watching as the station's shadow crept across Earth's surface. So, where do we start? We need to access the memory vault, Nyara said, her tone growing urgent. There are patterns within patterns, connections we've missed because we've never looked at them from a human perspective. But reaching it won't be easy. Why not? Because the vault isn't just a database, it's a living consciousness, spread across multiple dimensions. And it's protected by safeguards designed to prevent exactly what we're planning to do. Kenna smiled, the kind of smile that had gotten her through impossible repair jobs and system crashes. Well, then it's a good thing you've got an engineer on your side. If there's one thing humans are good at, it's finding workarounds. Outside the viewport, Earth continued its eternal dance around the sun, unaware that its fate now rested in the hands of a maintenance engineer and a renegade memory keeper. They had less than a year to solve a mystery that had puzzled the Vexery for millennia, to find a way to save not just Earth, but potentially every civilization yet to come. And somewhere, in the vast expanse of space, whatever force had been systematically erasing advanced civilizations continued its work, unaware that for the first time in cosmic history, its pattern was about to be challenged. The memory vault wasn't what Kenna had expected. After 3 days of careful planning and one rather creative interpretation of station maintenance protocols, she stood with Nyara in what appeared to be an ordinary storage room aboard a cloaked Vexery ship. "This is it?" Kenna asked, studying the seemingly empty chamber. "I was expecting something more cosmic. What you see is merely the interface point." Nyara's armor rippled as she moved to the center of the room. "The true vault exists in spaces between dimensions. Watch." The patterns on Nyara's skin began to pulse with increasing intensity. The air shimmered, and suddenly the room wasn't empty anymore. Streams of light flowed through the space like rivers of starfire, each carrying fragments of memories from long-dead worlds. "Beautiful," Kenna breathed, reaching out to touch one of the streams. Her hand passed through it, but her mind filled with fleeting images, a sunset on a world with 3 moons, children playing in fields of crystal flowers, a city that floated in the clouds. "Beautiful?" "Yes," Nyara agreed, "but dangerous." These memories weren't meant to be accessed by non-Vexery minds. "We'll need to be careful." Kenna pulled out the modified neural interface she'd spent the last 3 days building. "That's what this is for. If I'm right, it should let me process the memory streams without." An alarm blared through the ship, cutting her off. Nyara's patterns flashed red. "We've been detected. The council knows we're here. How long do we have?" "Minutes, at most." Nyara's hands moved through the light streams, manipulating them with practiced ease. "We need to find the pattern connection points now." Kenna activated her neural interface, wincing at the initial surge of data. The streams of light suddenly gained depth and structure. She could see how they connected, how one civilization's end linked to another's beginning. "There." She pointed to a complex knot of memories where multiple streams intersected. "That pattern repeats across all the extinctions. Every civilization that disappeared, they all made the same discovery right before the end." Nyara moved to examine the knot, her silver eyes widening. "How did we miss this? It's not just a pattern of extinction, it's a pattern of revelation. Each civilization discovered something about the nature of reality itself." The ship shuddered as another vessel docked with it. They were out of time. "Download everything you can," Nyara commanded, her armor shifting into a more defensive configuration. "I'll hold them off." Kenna worked frantically, using her interface to copy as much data as possible. The memories burned through her mind. She saw the Lyrian's final discovery, the Centauri's last transmission, the moment the Nexus Collective realized the truth. Each piece clicked into place, forming a picture that was both terrifying and fascinating. The door to the chamber burst open. 3 Vexery warriors stood in the entrance, their armor gleaming with authority. "Sentinel Nyara," the leader spoke, "you have violated the primary directive. Stand down." "I cannot," Nyara replied, positioning herself between them and Kenna. "What we found, it changes everything. The patterns must be preserved," another warrior stated. "Interference is forbidden." Kenna's neural interface beeped, indicating the download was complete. The information swirled in her mind, countless pieces of a cosmic puzzle finally falling into place. "Wait," she called out. "You don't understand what you're preserving." All eyes turned to her. Taking a deep breath, Kinna continued. "The civilizations aren't being erased by some external force. They're being erased by knowledge itself." The room fell silent. Even the memory streams seemed to pause in their eternal flow. "Explain," the lead warrior demanded. Each civilization that disappeared, they all reached the same conclusion. They all discovered that reality itself is a construct, a simulation running on some vast cosmic computer. But the discovery creates a paradox that the system can't resolve. So it resets them, wipes them out to preserve its own integrity. Nyara's patterns pulsed with realization. The memory vault. We're not just preserving memories. We're preserving the evidence of the system's existence. And that's why humans are different, Kenna pressed on, her mind racing with implications. We already live with paradox. Our entire history is built on accepting and working with contradictions. Quality physics, parallel universes, wave-particle duality. We don't just accept these impossibilities, we build technology around them. The lead warrior stepped forward, his armor reflecting the flowing memory streams. "If what you say is true, then preventing Earth's discovery of this truth would save your species." "No." Kenna and Nyara spoke simultaneously. They looked at each other, sharing a moment of perfect understanding. "Humanity wouldn't want that kind of salvation," Kenna explained. "We'd rather face the truth and find a way to survive it. That's who we are. And that," Nyara added, "is why we need to work together. Humans might be able to find a way to exist with this knowledge without triggering the system's reset protocols." The warriors conferred silently among themselves, their patterns shifting in complex conversations. Finally, the leader turned back to them. "The council must be informed of this development. But," he paused, his patterns showing uncertainty, "perhaps there is wisdom in what you propose. We will not stop you for now." As the warriors withdrew, Kenna turned to Nyara. "That was unexpected." "Indeed." Nyara's armor relaxed slightly. "But we now face an even greater challenge. We must find a way to prepare humanity for a truth that has destroyed every civilization that discovered it." Kenna looked at the flowing memory streams, each one a testament to a civilization that had reached too far, learned too much. "No pressure then." "There is always pressure," Nyara replied, her pattern showing what Kenna now recognized as grim humor. "The question is, what will we do with it?" Outside the vault chamber, Earth continued its innocent orbit, unaware that the greatest threat to its existence wasn't some alien force or cosmic catastrophe, but the very nature of reality itself. And in a hidden room between dimensions, a human engineer and a Vexary memory keeper began planning how to do the impossible, how to help humanity face the ultimate truth without being destroyed by it. The observation deck of orbital station Helios offered the best view of Earth, but Kenna wasn't admiring the view. She sat cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by holographic displays showing data streams from the memory vault. Each stream contained the final moments of a civilization that had discovered the truth and paid the ultimate price for it. "Look at this," she said, gesturing to a particular stream as Nyara approached. The Nexus Collective tried to upload their entire species into a quantum network before the reset hit. They thought existing as pure data might protect them. Did it work? Nyara asked, though her tone suggested she already knew the answer. No. The system wiped them just the same. But Kenna highlighted a section of code. They lasted almost 3 minutes longer than any other civilization. They found a loophole, even if it was temporary. Nyara's patterns shifted thoughtfully as she studied the data. The Centauri attempted something similar with their cultural database launch. They believed physical distance might protect their knowledge from the reset. And the Lyrians with their bunkers, Kenna added. Everyone tried to outrun it or hide from it. No one tried to. She trailed off, her eyes widening as a new possibility struck her. Nyara recognized that look. It was the same expression Kenna had worn when she'd figured out how to modify the neural interface. What are you thinking? Nyara asked. We've been looking at this all wrong. Kenna stood, her hands moving through the holographic displays with practiced ease. Every civilization tried to avoid the reset or survive it. But what if that's not the answer? What if we need to embrace it instead? Embrace extinction? Nyara's patterns flashed with confusion. No, embrace the paradox. Kenna pulled up multiple data streams, arranging them in a new pattern. Look at human history. Every major breakthrough in physics came when we accepted something that seemed impossible. Light is both a wave and a particle. An object can exist in two states simultaneously. Observation affects reality. And this helps us how? Because we're already living with the kind of paradox that the system tries to prevent. Kenna was practically bouncing with excitement now. We've built our understanding of reality on accepting that some things can't be fully understood or resolved. We don't try to force reality to make sense. We adapt our thinking to match reality's weirdness. Nyara's pattern swirled as she processed this. You believe this might allow humans to retain the knowledge without triggering a reset? Not exactly. Kenna manipulated the displays again, bringing up the data from her neural interface. I think we need to go further. We need to make the paradox part of our fundamental understanding of reality. Not just accept that reality might be a simulation. Make that possibility an integral part of how we see the universe. Like a vaccine, Nyara said slowly, her patterns brightening with understanding. Introducing a controlled version of the truth to build resistance to its full impact. Exactly, Kenna grinned. We already have the foundation for it. Simulation theory, quantum mechanics, philosophical questions about the nature of reality. Humans have been playing with these ideas for centuries. We just need to. A sudden tremor ran through the station, cutting her off. The holographic displays flickered and died. That's not good, Kenna muttered, reaching for her toolkit. No, Nyara agreed, her armor shifting into combat mode. The system may have detected our analysis. If we're accessing restricted patterns. Another tremor, stronger this time. The observation deck's windows showed ripples in space itself, as if reality was becoming unstable. How long do we have? Kenna asked, already knowing she wouldn't like the answer. Hours, maybe less. Nyara's patterns pulsed with urgent energy. The system is responding to our investigation. It sees us as a threat. Kenna looked out at Earth, beautiful and vulnerable below them. Then we need to move fast. If we're right about this, we need to implement the solution before the reset protocols fully activate. And if we're wrong, then Earth joins the memory vaults collection. Kenna's voice was grim. But I don't think we are wrong. Everything we've learned points to this. Humanity's weird relationship with paradox, our ability to hold contradictory ideas, our tendency to question reality itself. We're not just randomly different from other species. We evolved exactly the traits needed to survive this truth. Nyara placed a hand on the window, her patterns reflecting in the reinforced glass. The Council will not approve of direct intervention. What you're suggesting, it would mean actively changing human culture, seeding ideas that would fundamentally alter how your species thinks about reality. Better than being erased. Kenna pulled up her neural interface's communication protocols. Besides, we don't need to change human culture. We just need to accelerate what's already happening naturally. Push our examination of reality's nature just far enough that when the truth hits, it feels like confirmation rather than revelation. Another tremor shook the station. Warning lights began flashing throughout the observation deck. We need to decide now, Nyara said. Once we begin, there's no turning back. The system will detect any large-scale attempt to alter human consciousness. Kenna looked at her friend, this alien who had broken millennia of tradition to try to save a species not her own. I'm ready if you are. Nyara's pattern settled into a steady, determined glow. Then let us hope your species' gift for paradox is as strong as we believe. Because we're about to put it to the ultimate test. As they began their desperate race against time, neither of them noticed the subtle changes already spreading across Earth's surface, microscopic alterations in the fabric of reality itself, as if the universe was holding its breath, waiting to see if humanity could indeed do the impossible, face the ultimate truth and survive.